sacrifice and nobody trips on it.
Ooh, sorry, that's one of my stuff there.
Good morning. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Morristown in person with a huge crowd and virtually. And how blessed we are to have Grayson Nierenberg with us to bring his own original music, which is lovely. So it is July 31st. How amazing is that? The end of July. And this month, we've explored the idea of deepening our relationships. And so it's the last day, the last hurrah about that. And it fits inside the theme that all Centers for Spiritual Living are participating in. It's called Living Everyday Wonder. I'm so glad that that's the theme, because I think that when we watch the news, we don't feel close to wonder. Right? But when we connect with ourselves, with each other, with spirit, that's all there is. So we have Gail Belluardo assisting today as our licensed practitioner, and we are exploring the topic of love is a verb, which I don't think is new to any of us, but we get to explore it in a little bit of a deeper way. So those of you that are online, whether it's today, tomorrow, or sometime in the future, We welcome you. We're so glad you're with us. You can explore us on Facebook Live and on YouTube, but we also put all kinds of messages out on many of the different platforms: Twitter, Meetup, Instagram, Facebook. We have 2 groups, public and private. And check out our website, cslmorristown.org, because we have some new events coming up. Kat Roman is a wonderful sound bath facilitator, and she's doing a workshop on Sunday the 28th, which is going to be a lot of fun. And some of you may remember our 2 Indian musicians that we had. They're coming back for a concert. So that concert is going to be on a Saturday, August 20th, from 4 to 5:30. Perfect time, right? End of the afternoon, and you can go out to dinner, make it a date day. And we have our beloved Gail, who's brought back the First Friday Healing Circle, and the First Friday is this coming Friday, August 5th. That's in person only, so come and join us. All right, so let's say hello to one another. One of the ways that we do that is through our Namaste practice. Namaste is the Sanskrit word for, I don't know how they pack a long phrase into one word, but it stands for the divinity in me blesses the divinity in you. So put your hands together and just say Namaste to a few people. All right, take that in, feel that, it's precious. It's a real thing. So let's do an opening treatment, which is our word for affirmative prayer. So right here, right now, as I turn from the outer world to the inner world, from the world of effect to the world of cause, from the world of duality to the world of oneness, I simply and quickly remember who and what and whose I really am. I am a soul having this human experience, using it as a way to expand, to grow, to evolve, to take in more love from the inside out, and to share it everywhere I go, knowing that that is my purpose. And when I say my, me, I speak from and to that place of spirit in each and every one of us. So I know that this is the spiritual evolution that is ours to experience. And every time that we bump into a challenge, it is simply our growing edge. We are ready to surrender. We do this by trusting this presence and this power within, that is love, wisdom, beauty, grace, joy, peace, and harmony. So today we celebrate the remembrance of love and how this remembrance takes care of us. We can trust it. We can surrender to it. We can feel its blessings and know it as a guide. And for that, and for each other, for this community, for this teaching, for life itself, we are deeply grateful. And so it is. All right, let me grab my little notes. So, what I mentioned earlier, that we've spent 5 Sundays this month on exploring this idea of relationships. And we explored the relationship that we have with ourselves, that we have with others, that we have with life, that we have with our divine nature, whether we call that God or spirit or the universe or the divine. It's all that and then some more, right? And it's challenging. It can be really confusing. I mean, anybody here ever confused by this thing called love, or am I just alone? It can be really confusing, right? And that's the beauty of it, Because the confusion just says, oh, there is room for more clarity, a deeper understanding. And it's the things that cause us that confusion that are actually the perfect right way for us to say, let me take a look at this. Let me explore this. Let me think about it. And so I know for me, and I know in the many years that I have done spiritual counseling and talked to people who do either therapy or psychotherapy or any kind of counseling, that relationships are a great source of joy and love, but also a great source of heartache. Wouldn't you say?
Yes.
And that's the confusion, right? And so what that means is that they are the greatest source for healing and transformation and growth. Because relationships are the outpicturing of what's going on inside. And when we're willing to look inside and do the work there, we begin to see relationship changed. Maybe you've experienced forgiving someone and you realized that changed everything. It affected everything in a healthier way. Maybe you've decided to love someone that you struggle with, and love them anyway. And there was a sigh of relief, a freedom. So we know that the area of relationship is such a powerful area for growth and transformation. And so what I've noticed is that relationships and the challenges of them and the joys of them are showing me my level of maturation. They're showing me how I've already grown. They're showing me my spiritual maturity. And sometimes, personally, I'd rather not look at that. Sometimes it's exhausting, right? But when we do that healing work with love and compassion for ourselves, it becomes very powerful. So powerful that some of the people that we struggle with the most literally fall away and are no longer in our lives in a way that brings us relief and peace. So what we learn is how relationships influence us into doing our spiritual, mental, emotional work. And we've talked about that all month. So if you missed 4 talks virtually, that's a gem because you can find it on YouTube. Ernest Holmes says, love is a synonym for God. And God is love, the universal outpouring of the Spirit through law, wisdom, life, and action. God knows us in love. We know God only through love. When we love humanity, we are loving God in and through others. Piece of cake. So simple. Right? I hear you screaming. Because in our human nature, in our ego mind, it's not so simple. And I've discovered that my ego loves to make it complicated. Because that's how I learn a few things. So what we teach in the science of mind is that love is all there is. It's everywhere, in everyone, everything, all the time. The kind of love we're talking about is a love that's infinitely present. It's infinite in its givingness. It's unconditional. It's healing. It's powerful. But we don't always feel that. So it's not that it is or it isn't. It is absolute in its presence. Is that we get to be honest with ourselves and say, I don't always experience it. And it's not because of him, her, them. It's because of what I am learning and how I am growing, right? And so we get to pay attention to those places where we don't experience love, where we don't see it, where we don't feel it, or when we don't feel it. I know for me, the thing that shows up in relationships when I struggle is my belief that I'm not heard. I only have to go back to age 2 to unravel that one, right? Not to mention that it seems to be very common amongst humanity. Clue. And so it's in the Course in Miracles, they say this. It's been attributed to Jalaluddin Rumi, the 12th century poet, but it's not. It's spoken by, I forget the person's name that started the Course in Miracles. Somebody remember her name? Within yourself that you have built against it. That's an interesting aspect of relationships, because if I hear the most common prayer request, if I would make little check marks over the years I've been a minister, it's people wanting to find love. It's people wanting to have a relationship. It's people seeking for love, sometimes with a begging bowl, an invisible one, right? And so what this says is your task is not to seek for love, but to merely seek and find all of the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. So let's think about that for a moment. What are some of the barriers that you have built against love, or maybe noticed in other people? Let's do that. Noticed in other barriers that are built against love. What are some of those barriers?
Self-protection.
Self-protection.
Fear.
Fear.
Insecurity.
Insecurity.
Vulnerability.
Vulnerability. Our conditioning. What else?
You want to be loved in a certain way.
Wanting to be loved in a certain way. Heartbreak. How many times do people say, I'm never doing this again, it's too hard, right? And so there are these barriers that are important for us to notice. I noticed in my life, not anymore, thank goodness, because I've healed that one, had to do with not feeling worthy. Like, you know, who would love me? I'm a piece of doo-doo anyway, so why would they love me? That was a belief that I uncovered before I met my beloved, and I realized it was my barrier to relationship. So we pay attention to those barriers, and then we can fight with them, or we can let go and surrender. The fight creates more challenges in relationships. The surrender allows us to see that the barriers are cultivated by my own thinking, by our own belief system, by our own human-made barriers, ego-made barriers, right? And so we can say, well, I'm just going to keep fighting and resisting and keep up those barriers, or I'm going to let go of what's in the way. And some of that can be done consciously and actively, and some of it can just be, I let go, I surrender. So it can be quietly. Helen Schuchman is the foundress of the Course in Miracles. Thank you. It was actually, she's not a founder or the author, it was all challenge. It came, she downloaded it, it came right through her. Amazing. So when we surrender, what happens is we're saying, I let love be the guide. I let love be in charge, instead of little old me trying to fix this and make it happen. It says, I trust this infinite, unconditional, absolute love that I can call God or Buddha or Allah or Spirit or the universe or Mother Nature. I surrender to that and I let it have its way with me. I trust this love. And so that means we have to listen to the voice of love instead of the voice of the barriers, the voice of the vulnerability, the insecurity, the fear, right? We have to listen to a different voice, the voice of the heart, the voice of our heart of hearts. And then I think what's very important is that we practice this KISS method. Keep it simple, sweetheart. Not stupid. Don't ever say that. Think that. Right? Because it makes no sense. But keep it simple. Some of the challenges that I've experienced in the last year with COVID and the world seeming to be in a big mess is when I vision or when I treat or meditate, that's the answer over and over and over again. Keep it simple. How can you keep it simple? And the answer is always love and being in the present moment and doing something that brings me joy. Sometimes it's so subtle and so little that I dismiss it. And so love will always take us to our growing edge. Maybe not the way we would like it to do that, but the way it does. Love always takes us to a growing edge, whether it's a challenging relationship, a disease, experiencing lack, loss, limitation, in any way. Any of those challenges is love taking us to our growing edge. So we want to pay attention to the things we feel are lacking, the things we feel are missing, the things we're confused about, the things we're complaining about, the things we long for, grieve about, want, are confused about. All that stuff is the unconscious wanting to make conscious. So I want to read with some of you this wonderful writing, and I'm not going to tell you yet who it's by, because every time I read it I'm surprised, especially the first time I read it. But I have a few people that I've invited who are sitting in the audience to read, so I'm going to ask you to be loud so we can hear it on the camera. And we're going to start with Anna.
Justine. Okay. As I began to love myself, I understood how much it can offend somebody if I try to force my desires on this person. Even though I knew the time was not right and the person was not ready for it, and even though this person was me. Today, I call it respect.
Gail.
As I began to love myself, I stopped craving for a different life, and I could see that everything that surrounded me was inviting me to grow. Today, I call it maturity.
Grayson.
As I began to love myself, I understood that at any circumstance I am in the right place at the right time, and everything happens exactly at the right moment, so I could be calm. Today, I call it self-confidence.
Cindy.
As I began to love myself, I quit stealing my own time, and I stopped designing huge projects for the future. Today, I only do what brings me joy and happiness, things I love to do and that make my heart cheer, and I do them in my own way and in my own rhythm. Today, I call it simplicity.
Anna again.
As I began to love myself, I freed myself of anything that is no good for my health. Food, people, things, situations, and everything that drew me down and away from myself. At first, I called this attitude a healthy egoism. Today, I know it is love of oneself.
As I began to love myself, I quit trying to always be right. And ever since, I was wrong less of the time. Today, I discovered that is modesty.
As I began to love myself, I refused to go on living in the past and worrying about the future. Now, I only live for the moment where everything is happening. Today, I live each day, day by day, and I call it fulfillment.
As I began to love myself, I recognized that my mind can disturb me and it can make me sick. But as I connected it to my heart, my mind became a valuable ally. Today I call this connection wisdom of the heart.
We no longer need to fear arguments, confrontations, of any kind of problems with ourselves or others. Even stars collide, and out of their crashing, new worlds are born. Today, I know that is life. Charlie Chaplin. We have extras for anybody who wants to take them home, and those of you that are on Facebook or on YouTube, we will post it on Facebook. Now we're going to have some music with Grayson. Come on up, Grayson.
So this one I wrote actually a few months ago for service, and then I just never brought it to here, so it's been kind of in my archives, but it's called Instrument of Love. Oops, excuse me. That's what I was gonna say. We are already whole. Do not judge fear. Fear cannot drive the car. Contemplate and let love see. These emotions that we feel, all that you can name, just come down to fear and love. It's all the same. Just an instrument of love, being played for all to hear. Just a being of love, I know why I'm here. I'm a vessel filled with love, letting it all flow through clear. When I let love drive the car, I don't have to look in the mirror. Just an instrument of love, being played for all to hear. Just a being of love, I know why I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Grayson. That was awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. How does one become an instrument of love? Right? This is our topic for this month, and we are really ready, right? We're ready to become instruments of love. So I invite you to close your eyes and join me in this practice. And just feel your breath. Allow it to just flow through your body, deeply, rhythmically, feeling yourself supported on your chair. And let's take a journey to a place where you have felt comfortable, relaxed, and peaceful. It could be inside or outside, by yourself or with others. And tune in to that memory. Notice what you are seeing. If there's anything that you're hearing. Anything that you're sensing. And notice how you're feeling in your body as you are in this comfortable, peaceful place. And as you're feeling comfortable and peaceful, I invite you to look around wherever you are and notice what's around you. The objects. If there's other living life around you. And now notice the space between what you see, and know that in that space is energy. And as we know in our teaching, that there is only love and law. That energy is the love, the infinite love, the spacious love. And it is teeming with absolute kindness and care. And now refocus your attention on the forms in this space. Whether they're animate or inanimate. And let's remember that those forms originated from the invisible love that is the substance of life itself. And so you are immersed in a field and an atmosphere of love. It is the field, it is the atmosphere, and it is the container of your experience, of this place and this space that you are in. And notice now, as you've reflected on this, how your body feels. Notice the rhythm of your breath. And I invite you to know that that love that is all around you is also within you. You are sourced by that love. And that love is something that you can regulate. You can regulate that within yourself. For there is truly within each one of you and me a barometer of love. Your individual thermostat of love. And so in whatever way you imagine it, whether it's a visual or just a feeling or a sensation, just tune in to what that level of love is within you right now. Without judgment, whether you think it should be somewhere else, it's right where it's meant to be. And just notice that. And now bring into your thoughts something that has been challenging you. A minor or even a medium challenge. And just bring it into your thoughts. Now notice, as you brought this challenge into your thinking, if the barometer has shifted in any way, your barometer of love. Has it shifted in any way because you brought this challenge into your awareness? Maybe it has, maybe not, maybe it's the same. Just notice, for there's no judgment, it's just noticing. And if you feel ready, if you would like to move that barometer, feel free to do so now. If not, it's perfectly fine. If you find yourself even able to move it, this barometer, this love barometer within you, even if you move it up a smidge, what that feels like. And even if there's a sense that there isn't more love in you that you can give to this situation, remember that you are in a field and an atmosphere of love. And so you can draw on that outer atmosphere of love. You can draw that love into you if you would like to shift your barometer. And just notice what that feels like. The whole point of this is that you have the choice. You can direct the love within you. You can increase or decrease it. And we do this all the time, but not consciously. So now you're just become conscious of something that you already do. And now you have a term for it. And so I invite you to think about somewhere in your life, whether it's this particular condition or somewhere, something else, where you would like to direct that love within you. And then silently to yourself, make the affirmation, I direct my love to, and fill in the blank. And now take a breath, because the breath is our capacitor. It enables us to draw in the love. So breathing in the love for oneself and the love for others, and just relaxing into this moment. And now I will read something from our beloved creator, Dr. Ernest Holmes. We are all spiritual and mental broadcasting stations. There is a silent force flowing from each of us in every direction at all times. How necessary it is that we assume the role of the announcer and the broadcaster. How necessary that we write our own program and deliver it ourselves. And so I invite you now, if you feel comfortable, to make an intention for yourself that this week you will pay attention to your barometer of love. And you will be more aware and mindful that you have every right to consciously direct it and direct its flow. And so I invite you to bring yourself back to the room where you're seated. Take a deep breath. And when you feel ready, open your eyes. I did a little namaste myself here. So right here and right now, let's just know that this universe that we live in is a giving universe, circulating the love nature of God. And the love nature of God is the abundance of God. And we have just partaken from the abundance of God and the richness within ourselves. So this is our time that we know as conscious giving, where we are invited to give back to the place that gives so much to us, to our spiritual center, knowing that there are so many ways to give. We can give online, we can give through texting. Reverend Frankie loves to do it that way. Any way you desire to give, if you desire to give in terms of volunteering, if you want to play music some Sunday, we are here. We are here. And so we just stay in this consciousness of gratitude for all that is given. For all that is given, we are grateful, and we circulate that good whatever way we can. All right? And so we can just move us now into our closing prayer.
Treatment express.
And before the closing prayer, I will be doing a treatment express after service, so that's like a 1-minute miracle. And I will be over there if you would like that. And let's just come back to the center within ourselves and remember again the presence of God, the presence of love, the presence of good that has been richly here with us this morning, that has been so present in every soul that has participated in, viewed, or will view this service. For it is all the one love of God. And that one love of God is infinite, it's inexhaustible, it's joyful, it's resilient, it's loving and forgiving, and it's all here. And how great it is to be conscious knowers of love, consciously living from a place and a principle of divine love that informs us in all of our lives. So I am grateful, so grateful for the service this morning, so grateful to be in service, and so grateful for the service that everyone here is in their own lives and everywhere in the world. And so I say, thank you, Mother, Father, God. I release this. I release it into the spiritual law of life itself, and I truly know, since it has been spoken, it truly is already now done. And so it is. Amen.
So I'm going to close off with another original. This one's just kind of like that lighthearted, fun song. Woke up this morning to a sunny day. Look up at the skies and they're no longer gray. When I went to school, I Every day is a good day. Life's a beautiful bouquet.